David Benavidez and David Morrell are arguably the two best 168-pound fighters in the world, and the two most logical challengers to fight Canelo Alvarez at the 168-pound level, where Alvarez has spent a good deal of his career. However, Morrell and Benavidez are now prepared to meet each other at the 175-pound weight limit. Benavidez and Morrell are identified as punchers. Fans love punchers. So for entertainment value, these are the kinds of fighters you want to see. Who wins the fight could conceivably come down to the other half of the sport. Which one is technically better? Which one has more craft? And the fact is that they've both been raised for this moment. Morrell was brought up in the Cuban amateur system, where brilliant craft is coin of the realm, and Benavidez was trained more or less in his backyard all his life by his father, who is a professional boxing trainer. What's the style difference between David Morrell and David Benavidez? A fight in which both fighters are generally identified by boxing writers and broadcasters as punchers. But both fighters could argue and do that they have boxing skills above and beyond just being able to punch. Which one is the harder puncher? If you're basing that on what you've seen in previous fights, Benavidez's knockouts tend to be spectacular. Morrell, a southpaw with a Cuban training background, is from the outset seen, because of those credentials, as the technically more advanced fighter. Is he really? Well, we're going to see in the ring. If Morrell can make this a boxing match between a southpaw and a conventional fighter, where the southpaw often has a technical advantage, then that's a point for Morrell en route to a possible victory. Benavidez can make it an all-out slugfest where both fighters are swinging from the heels, trying for the knockout from the early rounds on, then that's a point in Benavidez's favor, because logic dictates that he might be more comfortable in that kind of fight. In the modern era of social media, it is almost obligatory for two fighters in a fight like Benavidez-Morrell to portray that they dislike each other. The simple fact of the matter is they don't know each other all that well. They've seen each other at a couple of events. They've brushed up against each other at news conferences and things of that nature. So they're creating a sense of animosity on the basis of very little evidence. David Benavidez and David Morrell don't like each other. They've made that very clear. Benavidez in particular has said, I am going to beat the blank out of him.
I'm going to beat the fuck out of David Morrell. Who's going to see the Mexican Monster this Saturday?
And Morrell has also said, I know that I'm going to knock him out, and I'm going to make him pay for things that have been said about me, et cetera, et cetera. How much of that is hype? Some. How much of that is real? Some. Because it's necessary fuel for prize fighting. You're going into the ring half naked against another man. It is the single most confrontational experience in sports. So boxing is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of psychological confrontation. And both these fighters have leaned into it and have attempted to portray to the public that they're the one who is ready to put the other guy away. Which one? We'll see. How did I pick a winner? Motivation. Boxers are human beings. They function from within. Every day of their training, every day of their lives is preparation for the next fight and the next fight and the next fight. How do they build themselves to the best possible level and stay prepared? They have to do it from internal motivation, from devotion to the craft, from being disciplined enough to do all the things they need to do every day to be great. So what lies out there for Morrell? I believe he's already climbed his mountain. He made it out of Cuba. He got here to the United States. He's fighting for giant money as an American professional boxer. That was certainly, in my view, the goal that burned within David Morrell. What lies out there ahead for David Benavidez? Well, the simple fact of the matter is he's already been a heavyweight. He was a heavyweight when he was 13 years old. If he wanted to graduate from light heavyweight to heavyweight, where the dollars multiply, all he has to do is put the weight back on in the best possible way, with all of the sophisticated training and understanding that he now has. And a Mexican-American true heavyweight contender, because of the cultural base, because of the size of the audience in Mexico and in the United States. A Mexican-American legitimate, honest-to-God, true heavyweight contender, forgive me, Andy Ruiz, the real thing, will be the biggest economic commodity in boxing and arguably the biggest economic commodity in the entire world of sports. We're talking about Formula One type money. We're talking about Messi type money. If David Benavidez can become a heavyweight, function as the same kind of knockout artist as a heavyweight as he has as a light heavyweight, that's the goal that exists for him. On that basis alone, I make him the favorite in the fight. He's got more to fight for than David Morrell.